Awesome. So, welcome everyone. We got Aaron today here, and he's completed a little bit over a year in the program, and he had a very, very successful transformation. When we look at him today, we could think Jason Statham is sitting behind the camera, but no, it's Aaron Peterson. So, welcome. Good to have you on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So before we dive a little bit deeper into your journey, I'd love to have you tell everyone watching a little bit more about your background, age, height,
Yeah.
weight, so we get the full picture before we go into the details.
Yeah. So I'm 48 years old right now. Um, I was about 47 in like 3 or 4 months when I first got in contact with Marl. And I've owned a business for quite a while, a couple businesses, and one in the education space, kind of distance education, ed tech space, and had a internet business that serviced rural America. And on top of that, I coach wrestling at a high school. So I'm the varsity wrestling coach at a high school, and I oversee all the stuff associated with that from the little kids program to the middle school to the high school. And I also sit on the USA Wrestling Board of Directors for USA Wrestling Idaho. And so I'm involved at a high level there um, and pretty active in our church. Um, And yeah, and I coach freshman football. So I've had a lot going on.
Yeah, that's a lot on a lot of hats that you're wearing, and you're also father, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I've got 5 kids. Yep, I've got and that's starting to slow down. My oldest is married. She is 21. I've got um a boy-girl twin who my son is actually serving a mission for our church right now, and he's been out about 5 months. Um, and his twin sister we tell everybody she's in heaven. She passed away about 5 years ago, and so we miss her like crazy. But she's in a good spot. And then I've got a 16-year-old son and a 13-year-old son at home.
Some people would
So
say
yeah.
those are five excuses, but I believe you made it five reasons.
Oh yeah, no, they're awesome. So kids are fantastic.
So with all of that on your plate and pretty packed schedule with work as well, where was
Yeah.
your health prior to starting the kinetic method?
So I'd always been a fan of working out and getting in shape. Um, and I wrestled in college. I would always have contests with my friends at the first of the year, but probably for the last 5 or 6 years, I was having a hard time breaking that 200-pound barrier, and so I was fluctuating between like 200 pounds and 208 pounds. I'm 5'10", 5'9" and a half, 5'10", right in there, and just struggling. I'm struggling, kind of control my appetite. Um, Sticking to something and kind of more of a lifestyle. And so I'd kind of fluctuate. Sometimes I'd drop a little bit below it, but man, it was a challenge. And yeah, a friend of mine who used to work with me over a decade ago, I saw his transformation pictures on Facebook and I reached out tomorrow and said, man, what are you doing? And I just like the fact, and I've told people this, I was like, I like the fact that it seems very sustainable, like lifestyle. It wasn't, I mean, I'd go to the gym, 4 or 5 times a week and I would lift weights and I would, I'd even hired another kind of coach, like a online coach a little bit to kind of help put together some of that stuff. But what I liked about what I saw is lifting 3 times a week, no cardio other than walking, and kind of a community that you can rely on and continue to gain information and learn about health and all the important things with it. And so, yeah, that's what attracted me to it. And I was like, okay, this looks like something that's sustainable. And when I talked to you, you said, man, before we do anything, let's get your blood work done. And nobody had ever really said that to me before. And I was thinking, God, something at my age, there might be other factors that I really don't know. So I probably need to do a deeper dive at a cellular level or at a blood level to figure out what the heck's going on.
What happened then? You gave like a really good cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, and then we looked at the blood, and it took me a little bit. My son, who's now on a mission, he and I had a trip planned to Iceland, um and then I had a little surgery to remove a precancerous thing on my chest. And so anyway, so it took about 6 weeks. And I think Marlon might have been getting a little frustrated with me, like, man, are you serious about this? We're going to get started. And so I got the blood work done, and he looked at the blood work and said, man, he said, my team looks at it and they said, I don't know how this guy is functioning let alone a high level, let alone any level, because his thyroid's messed up. There's other factors in play. And I said, well, guys, I really don't have the option of not having high energy just with all the things that I do. So I don't know if I'm just, and you know what? I would take a pre-workout in the morning and I would drink like a third of it and then sip on it throughout the day just to kind of help with energy because I would feel kind of tired and a little bit just wasted at certain times. So I would sip on some, pre-workout to kind of bring my energy levels up. And so maybe it was a little bit um factored energy there, but I felt like, man, I kind of needed that. The crazy thing is I haven't drinking pre-workout for probably 6 months now and don't need it. Don't feel like I need it. But anyway, we got the blood work done and and realized that I had some work to do, and we started supplementing for the things that I was deficient on rather than just supplementing to supplement. And and yeah, we started October 3rd, 2022, and just saw everything start to fall into line pretty soon. I dropped, and I think at my highest, and I kind of knew I was starting a workout plan. So probably the last couple of weeks of September 2022, I probably ate my fair share of stuff to because I was like, I'm gonna get into this program. Might as well go out with a bang. And so anyway, I was probably around 214, 215 when I started, and man, just started losing weights, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. And anyway, just started coming off. And um, first part of November 2023, I hopped on the scale about 164 is the lowest I'd got. And yeah, I think I even told you more. I remember going to my 30-year high school class, excuse me, 30-year high school class reunion, and they voted me as the one who hasn't changed the most, right? That I looked similar to how I looked in high school, which was kind of funny. And I was about 170, 177 there, so still about 13 pounds higher than I was when I hit my low.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't look like 48. No
Well,
wrinkles and the jawline is here and you look young.
yeah. Well, and I'm a few hours behind you, and we had a little bit of a late night last night, and so I slept a little bit longer than I normally do, but because I had a call with Fortino yesterday about getting more sleep, and so but anyway, so yeah, I'm probably normally I splash a little cold water in my face. I look a little bit more awake and into it, but no, I feel great. So
Yeah, you look great as well.
thank you.
So you shared, a lot about the transformation and what you did before, the results with the tree workouts. And initially you said, hey, I saw my body, Ryan Nickel, transform, and that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to do this because it also seemed sustainable. So now that you're about 14 months, 14, 15 months into the program, would you say this is something you can sustain and continue for the next few decades?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the crazy thing is that it's one like the only program I've seen that. And if anybody asks me, like, holy cow, like I get a lot of people like, man, have you lost weight or you look different, right? Type thing. And but funny, my brother always teases me. He's like, dude, is there something I should know? Are you dealing with some sort of cancer thing? I mean, because I've gotten so skinny. He's joking with me about that. But um, yeah, this and I tell people this. I was like, this is the one program where I can do it forever. I mean, lifting 3 days a week, and as I enter kind of the bulk phase, I'll go 4 days a week, but 3 days a week of lifting, and I only lift for like 35 minutes, right? It's just focused, it's intense. Maybe it's 35 to 40 minutes, but um I'm not chatting with people at the gym. I'm handling business and and yeah, it's a by far the program more than any other that I've ever seen in my life that can be sustained, that you can do your whole life.
Because that's the point. Like it's not
Yeah,
about getting there, it's about staying there. And that's the most important question. If you can sustain it, which you said, hey, I can do this forever, then it's great because you're going to keep the results. Otherwise, it's just another quick fix and you're just wasting time and money.
exactly. Exactly.
You said a lot of people reached out to you, including your brother, more maybe with a funny comment, but like,
Yeah.
the people that reached out to you and maybe saw, hey, like, what are you doing? What would be your word of advice to them in their specific situation? Maybe if they're a little bit on the fence or think like, let me pull this off on my own.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things like I'm actually probably a little bit bummed or sad if somebody isn't willing to invest the money into their health because the saying goes something like um man, when you're not healthy nothing else matters, right? When your health isn't there, that's the only thing that matters, right?
Yeah,
And
there's a
so
thing when you can have 1,000 problems,
yeah,
but
yes,
when you're I forgot the exact wording, but you can have 1,000 problems, but when you don't have when you don't have your health, you have only one problem.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one. And so so I when people are like, oh man, it might be too much money or I might try something else, it's like, I've been there. I've tried other things. I've tried but your health is so worth it to you. It affects everything else in your life, right? It's the catalyst that will help business. It's the catalyst that'll help, like I said, all areas of your life, your relationships, your family relationships, your social relationships. It's um and plus I'm a I'm a good example for my family, for my kids. Like dad's in shape, dad can now I seem to pull a few more muscles. Like I was just telling Fortino, like I've got a couple pulled muscles right now just because I start wrestling with some of the boys in practice, and I'm like, oh man, I should stretch a little bit more before I do that. But overall, I feel like in great shape, and people who see me who haven't seen me for a while are kind of really surprised about just the transformation.
Yeah, well, the photo, the before and after is dramatic. So,
Yeah, yeah.
did you
And it's
believe
funny.
when you first reached out that you would be able to get six pack shredded?
I didn't because I've never like even when I wrestled in college, I never I guess there was one time like that I got fairly close to shredded, but I just always thought like, oh man, I don't know if it's possible for me. Like I've got pretty thick skin. I've got um and then when we talked about my thyroid, I was like, man, it might be hard to get six pack shredded, but man, like even like I could see myself even just wearing a shirt as I start doing curls in the gym that you can start to see the top four ab muscles poking through your shirt and that's kind of cool to see because that's never really happened and um but man it's actually just been really cool like I'm the same weight I was in high school like when it was football season I was about 165 170 and that's what I'm weighing right now even when I got home from like I went to college one year then I went and served a mission when I got home from my mission I was like 178 and I dropped down to like 142 pounds in college. That was unhealthy, um, but yeah, I'm right around what I was in high school, which is a shocker.
But you don't look like in high school. You look rated. Yeah, because a lot
Thank,
of guys, from my experience, when they go back to like high school weight, they
yeah,
they don't have the same body composition. They used to have
right.
less muscle and more fat, and now they have more muscle and less fat.
Yeah. And I, like I said, I was an athlete, so I, um, even trained back then, but yeah, to be in that even category or class of what I was has been pretty shocking. And to have lost 50 pounds was just, I didn't even think that was possible. I didn't think 30 pounds was really possible. Then 40, and all of a sudden it just kept going. And that was the cool thing, is like you and your team just always kind of dialing it in. I mean, and I've never had anybody do that before. They'd look at pictures and do my workouts based upon, okay, we need a little bit wider back, or we need a little bit, the shoulders need to be a little bit more pumped up, or the chest or the quads, so, and here, let's adjust this here, let's throw in, this protein fast, or whatever it is, just to kind of help me make that transition. It just felt very customized to me as an individual. And I've been bummed I haven't been able to make some of the retreats. It's just, that's right in the middle of our wrestling season. But no, it's been a great community too, and people who honor other people's wins and cheer them on. And I really, I'm a big fan of that, right? Like, you got to be happy for other people's success.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like you're inspiration now to a lot of guys in the program. They look up to you, and you join the 1%, not just the 1% in the program, like really the 1% of all men alive with your physical fitness. And we
Yeah,
could even say 0.1% because you're over 40. Yeah,
yeah,
it's as rare as it gets.
that's awesome. That's really cool to think about.
I think you also have the potential to be the six pack CEO of the year 2024 with your transformation. Like you're definitely a candidate for that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, following Ryan, Fred, Jeremiah's, and
Yeah,
Mike's footsteps.
yeah, they look great. It'd be an honor to even just be mentioned in that category, because those guys have done amazing.
Absolutely. Good. Well, I appreciate your time today and giving
Yeah,
us a bit more outlook behind the scenes on your transformation and everyone who was curious about it. So thank you for being
yeah,
here.
yeah. And Maro, seriously, I'm happy to talk to anybody, anytime about it. Because like I said, I'm a raving fan, and I think just with what I've seen for myself, and um, it's, man, it's just, that's why I want to keep this thing going forever, right? Just because I love the program, I love the community. You guys have done an amazing thing, built a amazing community. So thank you.
Thank you. The community can only be great and amazing thanks to guys like you.
Well, I appreciate that. So, well, hey, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and